Hello dear friends, welcome to today's fluid mechanics class. Due to some personal reason, I was not available in last week to conduct your class. So today's again I have resumed to conduct your classes and we will continue it now. So in last class we saw that how we calculate the power supplied by jet to a radial flow turbine. That was the case which was different from other cases which we had studied in last classes. In previous class in radial flow turbine we used the angular equation for the power calculation, that is the torque into angular velocity, and that was very interesting to calculate. In that class we also learned the concept of angular momentum and what is the relation of angular momentum with the torque. So all these things we saw and calculated the power of radial flow turbine. Now in this class we will see a turbine, Pelton wheel, that is called Pelton wheel, and it is also called as Pelton turbine. Basically it is a tangential flow turbine and it is impulse turbine. Tangential flow turbine means the jet impact in tangential direction of runner rotation. This is the rotation of runner and this is the tangent to the runner rotation. And it is impulse turbine because the water energy at inlet is only kinetic energy. As we had seen that the impulse turbine is that turbine in which at the inlet the water energy is only kinetic energy. So here it is only kinetic energy, no pressure energy of water available here. So this is the line diagram of Pelton wheel. This is the casing and it just protects the spreading of water, and it also safeguard the people working around this turbine. There is no any hydraulic function of this casing. Means hydraulic function means it doesn't create any pressure, extra pressure to water at the inlet. So there is no hydraulic. It just stop the spreading of water, and the body of casing contains braking jets. I will tell about the braking jets. What is the braking jet? And on the body of casing, this jet is also mounted. Penstock comes, and on the casing of the jet, this nozzle is also mounted. So the main parts of this turbine is this is the nozzle and this is the sphere, SPEAR, sphere. It is regulate the flow of water. It is conical shape. It is having conical shape. Sphere is having conical shape. So this is the penstock. As you know that penstock is the large dia pipe which carries water from the dam up to the inlet of the turbine, and at the mouth of nozzle there is a sphere. If we rotate this sphere, this will move forward and close the mouth of this nozzle. So its function is to increase or decrease the flow rate of water from the jet mouth, from the nozzle mouth. So as we rotate this sphere, the conical shape will move forward and the flow of water will reduce. And if we reversely rotate this sphere, then this conical shape will move back and the flow rate of water will increase. Means its function is to increase or decrease the flow rate. And this is the runner. This is circular disc. It is called runner of the turbine. It is mounted on the shaft, and on the periphery of the runner there is a number of buckets. These buckets are having double hemispherical shape. Two hemispheres are jointed, and the common wall of this two hemisphere is called a splitter. Here the water is impacted, and the distance of this water impact radius, the distance of water impact point from the center of the shaft is called the effective radius of this turbine, and this is the diameter of the turbine. And because that is entering and leaving in the same radius, means at the same center, same distance from the center of the turbine, so the van velocity at the inlet and outlet of the jet will be same. U1 is equal to U2 is equal to U, and it will be pi dn by 60. This is the rotation, revolution per minute of the runner, and this is the diameter at inlet and outlet, and this is the van speed at inlet and outlet, pi dn by 60. And these are braking jets. Braking jets are used when we need to stop this turbine. Sometimes when we need to stop this turbine, we will stop the flow of jet from here. We will close the mouth of nozzle with the help of sphere, but due to high moment of inertia, this will rotate for a long time. It will stop after a long time. So to reduce this time of stopping this runner, we use the braking jet. From the opposite side of this bucket, we strike the jets. 3-4 jets are used to braking the motion of this runner. So when this is rotating in this direction and this is the opposite direction, this jet will strike when we need to stop the runner. So these are braking jet. This is a braking jet, this is a braking jet, this is a braking jet. It will stop very fast this runner. So we saw the complete layout of this and complete parts of this. This is the sphere, this is the nozzle, this is the runner, buckets, and this is a shaft, and this is a braking jet, and this is the casing. So this is the complete about this Pelton wheel. So here I have shown the side view of this bucket. This is a double hemisphere. One hemisphere is here, one hemisphere is here, and the common wall of this hemisphere I have shown here. This is called splitter. This is the side view of the bucket that I have shown in last page, where jet is impacting on the bucket. This is the side view of the bucket, and this is the section. This is the section, one section of this bucket where the jet strike. And jet strike at this point where I am indicating the laser pointer. So after striking here, jet half of jet divide in this side and this side, and jet come out from here and here. The radius, the radius of the bucket at the inlet and outlet is same, so u1 will be equal to u2, and this is the top view of this sectional view, top view of this section. So this is the double hemisphere. So here I have shown the jet impacting here and moving this side and this side. So this is a double hemisphere. This wall is called splitter, and two hemisphere are there, and this is a sectional view, sectional top view of this section, and jet strikes on the splitter. So for making more clarity, I have done this, how water inlet, what is the position of water at inlet, what is the position of water at outlet, how water inlet, take inlet, how water come at outlet. So for more clarity I have done this. So let us see next page. So this is the double ball, and this is a splitter. At this, at the on the splitter, the water strike. Suppose the velocity of jet at inlet is v1, and the direction of velocity of jet and the direction of velocity of van at inlet is same. So velocity triangle will be straight line at the inlet. So as the angle between u and v1 will decrease and come to 0, it will come on a straight line. So this is the velocity u v1, velocity of jet, and here we added this velocity u of this van. So this is the relative velocity, means at OA is the jet velocity and OB is the van velocity at inlet. So BA will be relative velocity of jet with respect to van. So as clear from figure, the VW1, the component of jet velocity along van velocity, is itself V1, because V1 is already along velocity of u at inlet. So VW1 is V1, and VR1 is the BA is the VR1 relative velocity of jet with respect to van. So VR1 is the clear from this triangle. This is actually not a triangle, this is straight line, because the direction of jet and van is same. So it is straight line, it is not a triangle here. So as clear from figure that VR1, BA is the relative velocity of jet with respect to van. So VR1 is the V1 minus u, and with the same relative velocity, the water or jet come out at the outlet. This is the VR2. VR2 will be equal to VR1 in magnitude, and because at inlet and outlet the radius of the van is same, so u1 is equal to u2 is equal to u, and that is pi dn by 60. And this is the and here we adding this van velocity. So from the relative velocity concept, this will be jet velocity. This is the jet velocity VA, this is the van velocity VB. So this will be relative velocity of jet with respect to van VR2. So you refer that when I had explained relative velocity before starting this relative velocity triangle, all these things. This is the VA, this is the VB. VA is the jet velocity, VB is the van velocity. So this will be VR2 will be VAB, relative velocity of jet with respect to van. And this is the phi, the angle made by the relative velocity at outlet with the direction of van velocity. and this is the beta, the angle made by this jet velocity along the line of van velocity, that is the beta. And this is the velocity of whirl at outlet, means component of V2 along u, VW2. And this is the velocity of flow at outlet, means component of V2 along perpendicular to u, VF2. So this is the velocity triangle at outlet, O dash, A dash, B dash. So from the figure 1, this is the figure 1, at the inlet, this is the inlet, VW1 is V1. VW1 means velocity of whirl at inlet. Velocity of whirl means the component of V1 along u, that is the V1 itself. Say this is equation 1, and the relative velocity of jet with respect to van, VR1 is the V1 minus u. VR1 is V1 minus u. Say this is equation 2. Now let D is equal to diameter of the runner at inlet and outlet of the bucket. Because it is tangential flow, water enter and leave at the same diameter of the runner, as we saw in the line diagram of the turbine in last pages. Let n be the revolution per minute of the runner, RPM of the runner, and H is net head of jet at inlet, net head. We know how to calculate net head. Hg is the gross head, and Hf is the head loss due to friction in penstock. And the net head will be gross head minus frictional loss. We know from the, when we had started the turbine and we had drawn the layout of the hydroelectric power plant, at that time we had seen all these things, net head at the jet of the jet. So same thing we are utilizing here. The net head of jet will convert into kinetic head. Net head at the inlet of the jet will be H, and it will be converted into kinetic head, V1 square by 2g. This is the kinetic head of the jet at the outlet of the nozzle, and from this equation we can get the velocity of jet, V1 is equal to under root 2g H, and U will be, we know the runner rotation RPM n, and we know the diameter of the runner at the point of impact. So pi dn by 60 will be van velocity at the impact point. And from equation, from figure 1 at outlet, this is the outlet, this is the outlet triangle, and R2 cos phi, R2, this is the R2 cos phi, this is the cos phi. R2 cos phi means this length. This I am not given any name, so I give this some name. Say this is the C dash. So this is the velocity triangle, O dash, A dash, B dash, and from the figure VR2, this is the VR2 cos phi. Cos phi means B dash, C dash. VR2 cos phi is equal to U plus VW2. So here I have written VR2 cos phi is equal to U plus VW2. Now you continuously refer the velocity triangle page. So VW2 is equal to VR2 cos phi minus U, as clear from the outlet velocity triangle. And VW2, and as we know that VR1 is equal to VR2. So VR2, in place of VR2 we can put VR1. So VW2 is equal to VR1 cos phi minus U. Say this is the equation 5. Now we will find out the power supplied by jet to the runner. This is our target. So power supplied by jet will be mass strike rate. As previous knowledge, we know that power supplied by jet is equal to mass strike rate into jet inlet velocity along U minus jet outlet velocity along U into van velocity into U. So jet inlet velocity along u is equal to Vw1 and jet outlet velocity along u is equal to Vw2. So mass strike rate is equal to rho AV1. So power supplied by jet to the runner will be P is equal to rho AV1 into Vw1, and here because V1 this here is the minus, so Vw2 is opposite to the Vw1, so this we will take minus, so this will be minus, so power supplied will be Vw1 minus minus plus Vw2 into u. This is the equation 6, and here Vw1 is equal to V1 from equation 1, and Vw2 is equal to Vr1 cos phi minus u from equation 5, and Vrn is equal to V1 minus u from equation 2. You refer the last page, and Vw2 will be V1 minus u. In the place of Vr1 we can put V1 minus u cos phi minus u. So this is the equation 7. Now we will find the hydraulic efficiency of this is the powers we have find out, and Vw1, Vw2 all we know, and V1 can be also find out by using equation of head as we have seen in last page. Now hydraulic efficiency of Pelton wind, and hydraulic efficiency will be power supplied by jet to the runner, power of jet at the inlet, power supplied by jet to the runner and power of jet at the inlet, and water power of the jet at inlet, and water power of the jet will be, how can we calculate water power? We know that water power is equal to head at inlet into weight flow rate of the water. As I had told you that in flow through pipe, that at any section of the pipe we can find out the power crossing that section. The power will be head at that section into weight flow rate of water. So similarly at the nozzle, at the outlet of the nozzle, what is the power of the jet? Head at the inlet means head at the nozzle outlet and into weight flow rate of the water. So head at the inlet is V1 square by 2g into weight flow rate of the water is rho A V1. Rho A V1 is the volume flow rate, rho A V1 is the mass flow rate into g. This is the weight flow rate of water. So by removing this g and g, we get water power of the jet at inlet is equal to half rho A V1 cube. Now efficiency will be power supplied by jet. This is the power supplied by jet, rho A V1 Vw1 plus Vw into u divided by half rho A V1 cube. So by cutting rho A and this 1 V1 from here, we get 2 Vw1 plus Vw2u divided by V1 square. This is the main equation of the efficiency. So this is the hydraulic efficiency of the Pelton wheel, 2 into Vw1 plus Vw2 into u divided by V1 square. This is equation 8. Now our interest is to find out the what will be maximum value of this efficiency. How can we maximize the efficiency of Pelton wheel? And Vw1 and Vw2 is, say, these are the, we will put all the values here. Vw1 is V1 and Vw from equation 1, refer the equation 1, Vw1 is from the, refer the velocity triangle page, Vw1 is V1 and Vw2 is V1 minus u cos phi minus u from equation 7. And we put all the values here in this efficiency equation. So 2 into V1 plus V1 minus u into cos phi minus u into u divided by V1 square. Now by rearranging this, V1 minus u will take together, and again we will take common V1 minus u. So we will get in bracket 1 plus cos phi. So this will take this shape. Now V1 we cannot change. Suppose V1 we cannot change. V1 is fixed because it's depend on the head, the height of the dam level, head ridge, and phi is also fixed of bucket. So here variable is only u. By changing u, we can manage the efficiency of this turbine, because as NH depends on variable u, so for maximum efficiency, as we know that if y is the function of x, then for maximum value of y, what we do, dy by dx we put 0 and find out the value of x, and the value of x on putting on the function y is equal to fx, we get the maximum value of y. So here NH is the function of u. So for maximum value of NH, neta h, sorry not NH, efficiency. So for maximum value of neta h, we do we differentiate this with respect to u. So dNH by du is equal to 0, and by equating this 0, first we differentiate this. What will be differentiation? It is only depends on this variable u. So dNH by du will be, here the differentiation of u will be 1, here the differentiation u will be 2u. So here I am writing here this differentiation of this 2, and these all are constant here. So the differentiation of this function will be this, and by equating this with 0, we get u is equal to half v1. This is the condition for maximum hydraulic efficiency of Pelton wheel. If someone asks you what is the condition for maximum efficiency of the Pelton wheel, so the condition will be the van bucket velocity should be half of the jet velocity. So this equation 10 gives us the condition for maximum efficiency. And what will be maximum efficiency? The value of u we will put in this equation. So we will get the maximum efficiency. So let us put this here. U is equal to half v1 we put here. So let us see on next page what we are getting. So by putting u is equal to half v1 in equation 9, we get this u is equal to v1 by 2, and u square will be v2 square by 4, and by calculating this we get v1 square by 4, and this v1 square cancel, and 2 to the 4, and finally we get maximum efficiency of Pelton wheel is equal to 1 plus cos phi by 2. See, this is the equation 11. So this is the formula for maximum efficiency of Pelton wheel when phi and v1 are constant. So let us stop here in today's class, and in next classes you don't worry, we will see lot of numericals. We will solve lot of number of numericals, at least 4-5 numericals we will solve of turbines. So now we will run our classes continue. Now whatever I had problem in last week, I had a little bit some personal problem in last week, so I was not able to take your classes. So now we will continue our classes. I think more 3-4 classes our turbine will finished. So if you are having any doubt in fluid mechanics, you personally send your doubt in WhatsApp. I will clear that doubt. Maybe I will, when I will be free, but I will send you reply definitely. So let us stop here. You complete this notes as your assignment and send me to for your attendance. Thank you.